Solo leveling, episode 11, remind me of my favorite RPG lesson in life. Just because you're the right level for a quest doesn't mean you're ready for the quest. Let's talk about it. All right, guys, Brent here running Solo Leveling Solo, where we cover all things Marvel, DC, Lord of the Rings, anime, gaming, Star Wars, and more. This time, Solo Leveling, episode 11, A Knight Who Defends an Empty Throne. And I gotta say, every single episode we've seen from Manhwa has continued to get better and better and better. And the reason for that is a very simple reason. The director and creator of this has been very, very flat out in saying, hey, each episode that our main character gets stronger, the animation is going to get better. For those of us who've been watching from the beginning, that's very, very exciting to hear. None of the episodes have been bad by any means. Everything has been crazy. Heck, when they delayed one episode, the entire internet lost its mind and downvoted the filler episode as the worst episode Crunchyroll has ever done. So to hear that they're going to give us some of the greatest things ever coming forward from this, I'm very, very excited to see everything that happens with our boy Jin-Woo. And look, he was in it from the get-go. They went over the popular tropes. They went over how to defeat them. The knights, the mages, the assassins, the archers, and basically how to dissect them, so to speak. And he was basically very straight up. Right now, a mage, my worst matchup. I don't have the right skill set to go ahead and take them out. Luckily for him, he's been strong enough to where he can kind of go ahead and mop up some of the easier monsters that were in this dungeon. He was able to basically brute force his way through something that could have required maybe a little bit more critical thinking. You play an RPG, you know exactly what I mean. You're strong enough to keep going, but you did the puzzle in the wrong way. Ultimately, until he ended up meeting the big, big bad Egris the Blood Red. And that guy had some hands on him. He was ready to throw down at any moment in time. His heavy armor, his heavy sword, his whole look, I gotta say, chef's kiss. It was phenomenal. It was a great look. He had great style. He had flair. He had presence. He didn't say a single word, but you were intimidated by this knight, and that's always something that's great to be able to translate over. And the fact that he spent most of his time kind of flexing on our hero was definitely a refreshing take on things because Jin-Woo has been able to flex on all of his opponents up till this moment in time where his money is really being put on the table in the most direct manner we've seen. He's been able to just overpower other people just because he's broken at this point or getting on his way to becoming an A rank or an S rank where things can get a little broken. But the Blood Red, the only reason he lost, he got cocky, which is a nice lesson to remind our hero of, who in this moment of I'm almost dying, I was sitting here on the throne, basically keeled over, about to, taste defeat once again and just be done with the whole system, remembers his sister and his mom, which is something I've been worried about going forward. The stronger he's gotten, the less morally straight he's been, the less conscionable he's been. He's falling into kind of a gray area where just because you're around me doesn't necessarily mean I'm with you like that, so to speak. And he's been kind of going off on his own moral path. And to see him when his lights are flashing before his eyes, he sees the light at the end of the tunnel. Insert whatever metaphor you want, and thinks back to his family, and that gives him that extra motivation to keep going and fight through Egris's only two weak spots in his armor, which for knights has always been historically the eyes, because they have to see, so there's going to be an open patch to get through. Got him through there, and then historically right under the neck armor to slice up, was able to get that handled accordingly. So that's been something that was a great use of his skills, his speed, and able to lull his opponent sort of. I don't think it was a well-planned trap. I just think his opponent got cocky and just kind of dropped his guard, a la like a Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan, where he's just like, I'm just going to keep hitting this thing as opposed to force pushing you down into this giant ravine, never for you to be seen again. Instead, he's just like, all right, I'm going to usually just chop at you, and he was able to survive because of it. But as per usual, whoever has been giving our boy all of his powers decides to put him through yet another gauntlet. Thus, portal after portal after portal opens up, a la Marvel Endgame, where all of a sudden now you have all of these baddies who are absolutely ready to just turn you into mincemeat. And the longer you survive, the greater your reward. It's like a video game skill challenge that you don't really want to be a part of, but you need it because you need all the amazing loot at the very end. The fact that they spent so much time mentioning Egress the Blood Red's armor and the S rank loot, I feel like that's going to be something that Jin-Woo is going to ultimately decide to take a look at. Not even going to mention necessarily all the other looks that are going on outside this portal. Jeju Island is officially being investigated. And I gotta say, considering this is the third raid on that island and they've been sending S ranks, something crazy is going on there. And I can't wait to find out what in the very next episode. So a little upset. We're going to have to wait a week. But again, hit that lovely red subscribe button. Stay tuned with us. Got tons more amazing content coming for you, the viewer, such as X-Men 97, Star Wars, The Bad Batch, Invincible, and more, all coming to you this upcoming week. See you in the next one, guys.